In a significant diplomatic maneuver, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to embark on a crucial trip to the Middle East with a focus on fostering regional stability amid ongoing tensions. Scheduled from February 15 to 18, 2025, Rubio's itinerary includes visits to Germany, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. This trip comes at a pivotal moment as the region grapples with the complexities of a ceasefire deal and the sensitive issue of hostages held by Hamas. Rubio will first attend the Munich Security Conference, a platform renowned for addressing global security issues and fostering international cooperation. Following this, his visit to Israel is particularly timely as it coincides with the anticipated Phase 2 of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza and the contentious hostage negotiations. The State Department emphasized that Rubio's engagements with senior officials will aim to advance U.S. interests, particularly in promoting regional cooperation and peace. The trip will center on freeing American and all other hostages from Hamas captivity, advancing to Phase 2 of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza, and countering the destabilizing activities of the Iranian regime and its proxies, the State Department stated. This emphasis on hostage release underscores the urgency of the situation, especially after Hamas announced a delay in releasing hostages, which incited outrage in Israel and prompted the Israeli Defense Forces (IDF) to bolster troop deployments along the border. The backdrop of Rubio's diplomatic outreach includes heightened tensions following Hamas's announcement, which drew stern warnings from U.S. President Donald Trump, who remarked that all hell would break loose if hostages were not released. In light of these developments, Israel has mobilized additional reservists and reiterated calls for Hamas to adhere to the ceasefire terms, hinting at a potential resurgence of conflict should negotiations falter. In the broader context, Rubio's trip aims to reinforce American diplomatic ties with key allies in the region while addressing the multifaceted challenges posed by Iranian influence and the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. His visit is expected to signal a renewed commitment to U.S. foreign policy objectives, particularly as the Biden administration has faced criticism for its handling of Middle Eastern affairs. As the situation evolves, the outcomes of Rubio's discussions could play a crucial role in shaping the future dynamics of U.S. involvement in the region. The success of these engagements will not only impact the immediate crisis but may also lay the groundwork for longer-term strategies aimed at stabilizing a historically volatile area. Looking ahead, the implications of Rubio's diplomatic initiatives will be closely monitored, particularly in the context of U.S. foreign policy under President Trump's administration. As negotiations continue and regional tensions persist, the effectiveness of these efforts will be pivotal in determining the trajectory of peace and security in the Middle East. In a pivotal moment for U.S. foreign policy, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth recently hosted a town hall meeting at the Pentagon emphasizing a significant shift in the United States' approach to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Hegseth's remarks have sparked widespread discussion about the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations, particularly in light of a new diplomatic strategy under President Donald Trump. During the town hall held on February 7, 2025, Hegseth asserted that Ukraine should abandon its aspirations to reclaim all territories lost to Russia since 2014. In a bold statement, he declared a return to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders as an unrealistic objective, suggesting that a pragmatic reassessment of the battlefield is necessary for a durable peace. This perspective aligns closely with Russian demands, particularly the cessation of Ukraine's NATO ambitions, which Putin has insisted must be part of any peace settlement. The timing of Hegseth's comments coincided with Trump's announcement of a forthcoming negotiation with Russian President Vladimir Putin, signaling a potential softening of the U.S. stance towards Russia. Trump revealed via social media that both leaders had agreed to initiate talks to conclude the Ukraine war, a notable departure from the previous administration's position, which supported Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. This shift in rhetoric has profound implications for Ukraine's defense strategy and its expectations from the West. Hegseth's assertions at NATO headquarters in Brussels indicated a clear expectation that European nations should shoulder a greater financial and military burden in support of Ukraine. He stated that the U.S. would no longer tolerate an imbalanced relationship which encourages dependency, urging European allies to enhance their military spending and capabilities. Critics of Hegseth's approach argue that it may embolden Russia and undermine Ukraine's negotiating position. Ukrainian officials have consistently maintained that any settlement must prioritize the restoration of their territorial integrity, including the recapture of Crimea. Hegseth's comments, however, seem to signal a willingness to accept a compromise that could leave parts of Ukraine under Russian control, a notion that could further complicate future negotiations. The reactions to Hegseth's statements have not been limited to the diplomatic sphere. At a U.S. military base in Germany, students staged a protest against the Defense Secretary's stance on diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives, which he has vowed to dismantle in favor of a more traditional military culture. This protest underscores the domestic challenges Hegseth faces as he attempts to implement his vision for the military while navigating the complex geopolitical landscape. Looking ahead, the international community will be observing closely how Trump's administration navigates this delicate situation. Hegseth's emphasis on a non-NATO mission involving European troops for Ukraine's security raises questions about the future of NATO's role in the region and how collective defense commitments will be interpreted moving forward. As the U.S. seeks to recalibrate its approach amid shifting global dynamics, the outcomes of these negotiations will be critical not only for Ukraine but for the broader stability of European security. In conclusion, the evolving discourse around Ukraine highlights a transformative moment in U.S. foreign policy, one that could redefine alliances and alter the balance of power in Eastern Europe. As Hegseth and Trump advocate for a new diplomatic framework, the ramifications of their strategy will unfold in the coming months, potentially reshaping the future of U.S.-Russia relations and the fate of Ukraine itself. In a pivotal moment for the Biden administration and the public health landscape of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stands on the brink of confirmation as the Secretary of Health and Human Services (HHS) under President Donald Trump. This anticipated vote follows a tumultuous nomination process marked by fierce debate over Kennedy's controversial views on vaccines, abortion, and public health policy. The Senate is set to finalize its decision on Kennedy's nomination today after a procedural vote yesterday that saw unanimous Republican support, a notable shift considering the initial hesitance among some senators. Kennedy, a prominent environmental lawyer and anti-vaccine activist, has ignited considerable opposition, particularly among Democrats who have voiced concerns about his suitability for a role that oversees vital health agencies, including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) and the Food and Drug Administration (FDA). Kennedy's nomination process has been anything but smooth. Initially, senators expressed skepticism regarding his extensive history of questioning vaccine safety and public health recommendations. During his first confirmation hearing in January, he faced pointed questions from lawmakers about his views on vaccines, which have been widely discredited by the scientific community. For instance, Senator Ron Wyden referred to him as an anti-vaccine crusader and the least qualified nominee for such a significant position. If they do not, my view is their legacy will be tarnished by setbacks in science that will echo in America for decades, Wyden warned. Despite this scrutiny, Kennedy garnered critical support from key Republican figures, including Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who initially expressed concerns about Kennedy's anti-vaccine rhetoric. Cassidy ultimately declared his support after securing commitments from Kennedy about maintaining an open line of communication and collaboration on health issues. He will be the secretary, but I believe he will also be a partner, Cassidy stated, emphasizing the importance of a collaborative approach. Kennedy's journey to this point is steeped in a complex family legacy and a contentious political narrative. The nephew of President John F. Kennedy and son of Robert F. Kennedy, he initially sought the Democratic nomination for president in 2023 but later withdrew to endorse Trump. This endorsement has raised eyebrows, suggesting a significant shift in his political alignment and strategic maneuvering within the Republican Party. As the confirmation vote looms, the implications of Kennedy's potential leadership at HHS are significant. with President Trump pledging to let him go wild on health-related matters. Concerns arise regarding the direction of public health policy under his stewardship. Kennedy's track record, particularly regarding vaccine skepticism, has prompted fears of a regression in public health initiatives that rely on scientific consensus. Democrats have rallied against Kennedy's confirmation, asserting that his views could undermine decades of progress in public health. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer articulated his party's unified opposition, suggesting that Kennedy's confirmation could reflect poorly on the Republican Party. If the Senate held a vote on Kennedy under a secret ballot, Mr. Kennedy would never come close to becoming confirmed, Schumer remarked. As the final vote approaches, the political landscape remains tense. While Kennedy's confirmation appears likely given the Republican majority, the ramifications of his appointment are still unfolding. His approach to health policy, particularly in light of his historical skepticism towards vaccines and public health mandates, could shape the future of health governance in the United States. In conclusion, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s confirmation as HHS Secretary marks a significant moment that could redefine the public health landscape in America. As he prepares to assume this influential role, the nation watches closely to see how his policies will align with scientific evidence and public health needs amidst ongoing debates surrounding health and safety. The coming weeks will likely reveal the true impact of Kennedy's leadership on the health of Americans and the integrity of the HHS itself. In a significant legal maneuver amid ongoing tensions over immigration policy, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced a lawsuit against New York State leaders on Wednesday. The action targets the state's green light law, which allows undocumented immigrants to obtain driver's licenses and has become a focal point in the Trump administration's broader crackdown on illegal immigration. This lawsuit, which Bondi described as a vital step in protecting American citizens, underscores the escalating conflict between federal and state authorities regarding immigration enforcement. During her first press conference since taking office, Bondi, flanked by federal law enforcement officials and the grieving mother of a murder victim, condemned New York's approach to immigration as prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens. The lawsuit specifically names New York Attorney General Letitia James and Governor Kathy Hochul, claiming that the green light law represents a frontal assault on federal immigration laws. The law, enacted in 2019, was intended to enhance public safety by ensuring that all drivers, regardless of immigration status, are tested and insured. Bondi's rhetoric echoes President Trump's hardline stance on immigration, reflecting a renewed commitment from the Department of Justice to pursue states that resist federal enforcement efforts. "This is a new DOJ and we are taking steps to protect Americans," Bondi stated, asserting that millions of undocumented immigrants with criminal records pose a threat to public safety. She highlighted the case of Tammy Nobles, who lost her daughter to a crime committed by an undocumented immigrant, as emblematic of the dangers associated with lax immigration policies. In response, Governor Hochul dismissed the lawsuit as a worthless, publicity-driven effort, asserting that New York's DMV policies comply with legal standards and maintain necessary safeguards for personal data. "Our current laws allow federal immigration officials to access any DMV database with a judicial warrant," she countered, reinforcing New York's commitment to its residents while also welcoming law-abiding immigrants who contribute to the community. The legal battle comes on the heels of similar actions against other jurisdictions, including a recent lawsuit against Illinois and Chicago for their sanctuary policies. This pattern indicates a strategic push by the Trump administration to confront states perceived as obstructing federal immigration enforcement. Bondi's announcement has reignited debates about the balance of power between state and federal governments in immigration matters, a contentious issue that has drawn significant public attention and political polarization. Furthermore, the lawsuit raises questions about the future of immigration policy in the United States. As Bondi and her team prepare to challenge New York's laws in court, state officials and advocates for immigrant rights are gearing up to defend these policies as vital to community safety and civil rights. The stakes are high, as the outcome could set precedents affecting other states with similar laws, potentially reshaping how immigration enforcement is approached nationwide. Looking ahead, the clash between the federal government and New York may escalate as both sides prepare for a protracted legal battle. With immigration remaining a pivotal issue in American politics, the implications of this lawsuit could resonate through the upcoming elections and influence broader discussions on national immigration strategy. As tensions mount, all eyes will be on how this legal confrontation unfolds and what it means for the future of immigrants and state rights in America. In a pivotal move signaling renewed U.S. engagement in Ukraine, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made history on February 12, 2025 by becoming the first senior official from the Trump administration to visit Kyiv since President Donald Trump resumed office. This visit occurs at a crucial juncture, as uncertainty looms over the future of American support for Ukraine's ongoing war effort against Russia. During a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Bessent articulated a vision for a strategic partnership that hinges on an economic cooperation agreement. He stated President Trump has a plan to end this war, emphasizing that in exchange for access to Ukraine's natural resources, the U.S. would continue to provide substantial military and material support. This proposal aims to reassure both Kyiv and American allies about the United States' commitment to Ukraine's defense amid concerns about Trump's historical stance on foreign aid. Zelensky welcomed Bessent's visit, describing the proposed agreement as a detailed plan that would open avenues for American businesses to invest in Ukraine's resource sector. He expressed gratitude for the Trump administration's support, asserting, "I know that he is a strong man, and I am sure that he will push Putin." The Ukrainian leader's optimism was echoed in a post on social media where he noted the importance of charting next steps to stop Russian aggression and ensure a lasting, reliable peace. Bessent's visit comes in the wake of a concerning escalation in hostilities as Russia launched a barrage of missile strikes on Ukraine, including Kyiv. This attack resulted in casualties and exemplified the ongoing threat Ukraine faces, underscoring the urgency for robust defense mechanisms. As Zelensky pointed out, U.S. air defenses play a critical role in safeguarding Ukrainian cities from such assaults, and the cost of these defenses is significant, running into millions of dollars. Additionally, Bessent's remarks highlighted a proposed partnership model that promises greater transparency in how U.S. aid is utilized in Ukraine. He asserted that the economic agreements would be structured with high corporate hygiene standards and full accountability, aiming to inspire confidence among both American taxpayers and Ukrainian businesses. This approach is designed not only to bolster Ukraine's economy but also to serve as a deterrent against further Russian aggression by solidifying U.S. interests in the region. The Trump administration is reportedly seeking access to Ukraine's critical minerals as part of this new economic framework, reflecting a strategic pivot towards resource security. Bessent noted that the arrangement would enable the U.S. to secure rights to Ukrainian resources, which could serve as a long-term security shield for the nation post-conflict. He stated, "The real payoff will be when the conflict ends and there is the rush to rebuild Ukraine," indicating a broader vision for reconstruction and investment in the war-torn nation. As Bessent's discussions unfold, the potential implications for U.S.-Ukraine relations are significant. The proposed economic partnership may reshape the dynamics of international support for Ukraine and could foster a more resilient Ukrainian economy in the aftermath of the war. While Zelensky prepares to engage further with U.S. officials in upcoming meetings, the focus remains on ensuring that American support is not only maintained but enhanced with a commitment to transparency and mutual benefit. In conclusion, Bessent's visit marks a critical moment in the evolving relationship between the U.S. and Ukraine, with both nations seeking to navigate the complexities of war, resource management, and economic recovery. As the situation develops, the effectiveness of this new partnership model will likely be closely scrutinized, not only for its immediate impact on the conflict but also for its long-term implications for regional stability and U.S. foreign policy in Eastern Europe. In a significant development for the business and political landscape, Howard Lutnick, the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald and chair of Newmark Group, has successfully retained a contested $50 million bonus following a settlement with investors. This high-profile case, which unfolded in Delaware courts, centered around allegations from Newmark shareholders who claimed that Lutnick had not earned the bonus due to a failure to enhance the company's value during its public listing on the Nasdaq exchange in late 2017. The settlement, which was disclosed recently, allows Lutnick to keep the substantial bonus awarded in connection with Newmark's spin-off from Cantor's BGC Partners. Interestingly, the financial implications of the agreement mean that Newmark will be compensated through insurance, effectively shielding the company from the burden of the payout. As a result of this settlement, investor complaints regarding Lutnick and other Newmark executives allegedly benefiting unfairly from a separate 2021 exchange of partnership units have also been resolved. Lutnick's victory comes at a critical time as he faces a nomination battle for the role of U.S. Commerce Secretary. Despite the ongoing uncertainty surrounding his confirmation, Lutnick has reason to celebrate this financial triumph. He is committed to stepping down from his leadership positions at Cantor and Newmark if confirmed, along with divesting his interests in both companies. The Senate Commerce Committee has already approved his nomination, although the timeline for a full Senate vote remains uncertain. This dual narrative of Lutnick's financial and political maneuvers highlights a broader context of trade and economic policy that is increasingly pertinent in today's market climate. With Lutnick potentially stepping into the role of Commerce Secretary, he would assume a significant position overseeing trade and tariffs at a time when these issues are of paramount importance to both the American public and the global economy. In related news, President Donald Trump has recently enacted 25% tariffs on foreign steel and aluminum, a move that has sparked debate among various stakeholders. While Trump asserts that these tariffs will revive American manufacturing jobs, critics including Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker argue that such policies could lead to increased operational costs for businesses, potentially harming industries reliant on steel and aluminum such as brewing. As Lutnick navigates his potential confirmation, the implications of these tariffs and their impact on various sectors could shape his tenure should he secure the Commerce Secretary position. Trump's administration has indicated that further tariffs on additional goods, including microchips and vehicles, may follow, signaling a more aggressive trade stance. The intersection of Lutnick's financial dealings and his prospective political role underscores a crucial juncture for both his career and broader economic policies in the U.S. As stakeholders await developments on Lutnick's confirmation, the outcomes of these intertwined narratives will likely reverberate through the financial and political arenas in the months to come.